Rotary. Charles Huff, speaking to that group, made this bold prediction. The University of Memphis will be in a Power 4 conference by the year 2028. He was specific to the year. He says, Dr. Ed Scott, Dr. Bill Hargrave, they've got a plan. I'm sure that plan must have some of the formula that was used that the Big 12 did turn down a year and a half ago. But there was a confidence in Charles Huff that was pretty amazing at that speech that he gave. And he said, but we've got work to do. Memphis's football team's got to win a lot of games. And he mentioned in this new stadium they have, they need to draw. He basically said, if you want to know what you can do to help, it's to buy season tickets. Buy the tickets. If you can't go to the game, we're setting up a lottery. And we will give to underprivileged families unused tickets. So in other words, if you buy the 6 games at home and you can only make 4 of them, turn 2 games in, we'll make sure we give them to people who can afford tickets. They will come to the game. I like the whole idea. I love the confidence from Charles' mouth to God's ears, as my grandmother used to say. I would be so happy if that were the case. Wow. Last night, this game was over. 7 minutes, 52 seconds left in hushed Madison Square Garden. Cleveland is putting on a clinic. They are shutting down. And remember, now there was some rest and rust that was involved with the Knicks. They couldn't hit shots. The defense by Cleveland was outstanding. And with 7:52 to go, the New York Knicks were down 22 points. 22 points with 7 minutes and 52 seconds to go, ladies and gentlemen. That's incredible. The only other comeback in a playoff larger than that, 2012, when your Grizzlies blew a 24-point lead to the LA Clippers. Now, I tried to find this. I'm guessing that 24 points was not with 7:52 left to go in the game. I would say that was probably somewhere in the third quarter, the 24-point lead for the Grizzlies, which dissipated, was taking place. This is 22 with 7:52 to go. In fact, if you go through the last 7:52 in the 5-minute overtime, the Knicks outscored the Cavaliers 44-11. In fact, Jalen Brunson, who was unstoppable, he himself outscored the Cleveland Cavaliers in that time frame 17-11, 115-104. That's the overtime win for the hometown Knicks, who absolutely stole one. This was Kenny Atkinson's Cleveland Cavaliers all the way. And when you look at this, you're going to see a old-looking, very tired, no legs James Harden being totally exploited by the Knicks. I mean, they targeted him. And Kenny Atkinson kept him in. He wasn't anything offensively either because he had no legs left. Don't forget, Cleveland had just played a Game 7 a couple of days ago. The Knicks hadn't played in 11 days. The other aspect was, and I don't know why Kenny Atkinson did this, he did not use his timeouts. He had 2 left when the game was over. 2 left. Well, called 1 timeout in that run with 7:52 to go. Come on. And for whatever reason, they stopped initiating the offense with Donovan Mitchell. Clearly their best player. Clearly their star. They let Harden do so much. I don't understand why you even kept Harden in the game. I put this one, seriously, on Kenny Atkinson. This was a choke job, and the coach was a big part of that because he did not make decisions that could have stopped the bleeding. Incredible to me. 22 points in 752. I don't know if I'll see that again in the next 10 years. That is crazy. But these conference finals, holy mackerel, folks. We had a double overtime with the Spurs and the OKC Blazers, who had not lost a game in the playoffs yet. Now they have. The Spurs, man, that's going to be one of the classic battles for the next 5 years. Both these teams are young. The two best players in this league could be SGA, who won back-to-back MVPs, and Wemby, who is trying to make the point that he should have been the MVP. He was clearly the defensive player of the year. He changes things so much. But this series is going to be so good. And now, so will the Knicks. Although, this is the kind of loss I'm not sure you get over. This is the kind of loss where you go, I don't know, we just don't have it against this team, or it just sucks the life out of you because you had stolen home court advantage. It was in your hands, and you blew it. You should have had it. Hard, I think, to come back from that one. But we'll see. Game 2 is on Thursday. Jason Kidd out at Dallas. Boy, I'll tell you what. The GM long gone, but the beginning of the end of that whole regime was when they just said goodbye to Luka for no reason. They were lucky to get Cooper Flagg. Let's face it, Anthony Davis is just always injured. Kyrie Irving was injured. It had the makeup of being a decent team once they got Flagg, but I'll never understand why they let Luka go the way they did, and now that whole regime gone, and we'll see what Dallas can do. I remember watching Rashee Rice at SMU. This dude's a player. But he also has very little discipline on a lot of different fronts. He's going to miss OTAs and minicamp because he broke the probation terms that he had for hitting and running like a coward on a Dallas highway. They let him pretty much, he had to do some penance, but then it was over. All he had to do was be a good boy, and he couldn't do that. I guess it was some marijuana violation that is against the terms of the probation. So he's going to spend 30 days in jail, miss all of that. And at some point, no matter how good you are, they're going to go, that's enough. We've had enough with this guy. NFL, by the way, is going to play up to 10 international games in 2027. That's up from 8. It used to be teams like the Bears could protect 2 home games that they say you can't move those 2. Like, let's say the Packers and the Lions. Now you can't even protect those. I don't know what Roger Goodell's end game is on this. Why he really wants so much international flair. You're not putting a team in Melbourne, Australia. It's too far. You're not putting a team in Europe, maybe Mexico City. I don't know. It just seems crazy that they're doing all these things, but he knows his stuff. And last thing before we change time zones here, the Big Ten clearly wants a 2014 playoff. They've clearly talked the ACC and the Big 12 into this. There is no way, says Mr. Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, that we will play 16. If the SEC and Greg Sankey don't go along with 24, we're just going to keep it at 12. The SEC still wants it at 16. This is wild. Who knows how this will play out, but we'll know a little bit more next week because I believe down in Destin, Sankey and company all have their spring meetings, and we'll stay tuned on all of that. I'll let you know. You got to think of sweet things all the time, this crazy world. Nothing is sweeter than Dinstall's. And this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. So Dinstall's launches their Summer Sizzler specials. The first one, they did this for me. It's my favorite. It's Cashew Crunch. Cashew Crunch has a special price this weekend. It also was the finalist in the Sweet Madness bracket along with chocolate-covered strawberries. Chocolate-covered strawberries have a special price. Now, I will tell you, the strawberries are unbelievable. Nobody does them like the strawberries, and usually now there's a cost to them. but you get a summer sizzler special on it. So I would definitely take advantage. Stop by and pick up both this weekend at those very special summer sizzler special prices. And by the way, Dinstall's will be closed Sunday and Monday in honor of those who served our country and their families. So you've got today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Stock up for the weekend. Go see our good friends, all 5 locations. That would be my neck of the woods in Laurelwood, the Burbs. That's Germantown and Collierville. They got it downtown, and where they make it on Pleasant View. Go in and make your weekend extremely sweet.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
Poor Dennis Philippi. He was all set. He had the script all written. He was set to go, and then came the comeback.
It was insane last night because I had the game on, but I had completely stopped paying attention to it because it was clear Cleveland was going to win. They were running away with it. I wasn't paying any attention to it. I 7 minutes to go. 22 points. I went out to get a breath of fresh air. I was gone for 5 minutes. I come back in. It's a 7-point lead. Like, what? What happened here? It was stunning. And both you and our mutual friend Jeff, who were very cynical guys, are just, this is the biggest choke job in the world.
There's no cynicism here. It's fact.
This was just or it was an amazing comeback by a team that had realized, oh, we've kind of been coasting for 3 quarters because they were just feeling pretty good about themselves and thought they were going to walk away with it. And then they realized, oh, wait, we should actually start putting some effort into this. And when they did, they came back and they won. And what's funny, and nobody seems to be talking about this, Mike Brown coached the Cavaliers twice. He had 2 different terms.
Right.
The head coach of the Knicks had 2 different terms as the coach of the Cavaliers. And nobody seems to be mentioning that there's a certain revenge factor for him because he's been fired by that team twice. Of course he wants to beat them. Now,
Kenny Atkinson helped him a lot last night.
Kenny Atkinson wasn't the guy who couldn't hit a basket in the last 7 minutes of the game. He wasn't on the floor.
He kept the guy in who couldn't.
He was. Now, going away from Donovan Mitchell was very surprising and confusing because it's not like they were putting a lot of pressure on Mitchell. Mitchell was open, but they weren't getting the ball to him.
How about taking out James Harden, who couldn't guard anybody, and the Knicks and Mike Brown are clearly attacking him?
I'm not saying that the Cavaliers did a great job. I'm just saying the Knicks did do a great job, and they deserve some credit for it. And Mike Brown deserves some credit for it because he was a great hire. Remember, the Knicks went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year and fired their
Tom
coach.
Thibodeau.
Yes, the sweaty comb-over that is Tom Thibodeau. And I thought Mike Brown was a great hire, and it's becoming clear that he is a great hire. And I think it's going to be a lot of. I would love to see the Knicks win this series. I don't really care.
I think they're going to now.
I don't really care who wins in the West. I like both teams fine.
Well, get used to that because you're going to see a lot of them in the next 5 years.
And right now, what the Spurs are doing to Gilgeous-Alexander, they're not just double teaming him. They're triple teaming him or 2.5 teaming him. There's always 2 guys on him, and Wembanyama is always right there waiting to clean anything up. And so they're driving SGA crazy, and it's great defense. And that's another thing about both of these series. Everybody bitches about there not being great defense in the NBA. Both of these series are featuring great defense.
Can you remember, seriously, a better young player who obviously has these great athletic skills at 7'4"?
Well, no.
Than this guy?
Because there hasn't been one.
This guy's one of the greatest players we will ever see.
As long as he stays healthy.
As long as he stays healthy.
As long as he stays healthy. And no, of course.
And he's only going to get a little bit better than he is now.
Nobody's...
Or maybe a lot better.
Nobody's ever seen this before. Nobody's ever seen a guy 7'4", well, practically ever, period, much less one that's actually meaningful, much less one that has skills and plays defense and has nothing but an upside. It's just ceiling for this guy. There's no ceiling to him.
Just what I think people don't realize how he changes the game. Do you know how many attempts when he was in the game that SGA and the entire OKC team had in the paint?
I've got it.
10 attempts. That's all. The whole game when he was in. And he played like 48 minutes. Which just says to you, when he's in there, they're afraid to take a shot.
Well, I completely agree. It's very exciting. Although that's that's real sports. I'm not normally here to talk about.
Oh
real
no!
sports.
Have we got something? Last week?
I'm never going to top ferret legging. I peaked with ferret legging. That, for those of you who weren't
It's
listening
over
last
for
week,
you. You're set to retire now.
I'm never going to top that. I've got some stories, but I'm never going to top that one. You probably saw this. I don't know if people have been talking about this. I haven't been in the car the last couple of days, so I haven't heard a lot of talk radio. But a ring of thieves working at a post office distribution center in Indianapolis were stealing all kinds of things. They were at this postal district. They're stealing people's cell phones, stealing all kinds of things, including a Super Bowl ring.
Ooh.
A Super Bowl ring from the 49ers. They don't know exactly who the ring may or may not have belonged to, but it was a 49ers.
Well, they should. The name's on there.
It was a 49ers Super Bowl ring. And it was quite, I'm telling you, it was some fantastic police work there, Lou, because they caught the guy who stole the Super Bowl ring because he was wearing it. At work in a postal distribution center, he was wearing the Super Bowl ring he stole. Have you ever seen a Super Bowl ring in
It's
person?
gigantic.
They are
Yes.
gigantic.
Yeah.
When I briefly lived in Kansas City, I sold Buck Buchanan, Hall of Famer for the Kansas City Chiefs. I sold him a 3/4 length raccoon coat once. I'm not making that up.
What?
I know. I worked in this store. I worked in a store that sold exotic furs. I really did.
I cannot believe it.
And Buck Buchanan came in, and he was wearing his Super Bowl ring, and I could have worn it on my wrist.
Yeah,
they're huge. So I'm guessing the guy who worked at the post office was a big fella. But he was wearing the Super Bowl ring when he was busted. This one, the top 10 complaints about Bad Bunny's halftime performance to the FCC. The top 10 complaints to the FCC
This
about
is last year's Super Bowl.
about
you're talking about?
Bad Bunny's halftime performance at the Super Bowl last year came from the state of Montana. The top 10 complaints to the FCC came from the state of Montana, different people, mostly complaining about the Spanish language and what they called the Mexican singers. Bad Bunny, by the way, is Puerto Rican and an American citizen.
Yeah.
But they were complaining about that. And they were complaining about the Mexican singers and the Spanish language. Montana, by the way, from the Spanish word Montana, which is Spanish. They were Montanans.
You're saying the root of Montana
is Montana.
Is from
is the
Spanish word
Montana.
I would have thought it would be from Native Indian, but
no, it's not Native American. No, I looked it up, but I already seen the source. But it is Montana. It's which I think is mountains or something in Spanish. But they were so outraged about these Mexicans in a state that's named after something Spanish. Our boy Urban Meyer, who we all discovered 6 years ago, is incapable of coaching in the NFL, still felt like that the Jaguars owed him $30 million. He coached for 1 year,
right?
Was terrible, drove the franchise in the ground, got fired, and still believed he should sue for $30 million.
Well, it depends on the contract he originally signed.
Went to arbitration.
Yeah.
And the arbitration finding was it was perfectly fine for the Jaguars to fire Urban Meyer for sucking at being an NFL coach. It was that simple. Fired for cause. He did a bad job, so they fired him. If you came on the air every day and sucked, and they fired you, there's nothing you can do about it.
No, I didn't get a guaranteed
job,
contract, but most coaches sign guaranteed deals.
You can be fired for cause, and he was fired for cause.
Like Jason Kidd, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They just signed him to an extension last year. He's got 4 years, $40 million. That's guaranteed. He doesn't have to do anything.
And that's obscene.
Yeah.
But that is the last of that regime. Nico's regime. They finally
Nico.
cleaned house of
Where
everybody
is he
involved. He's also getting paid for not working.
Yeah.
You may remember this. 5 years or so ago, a longtime Cubs play-by-play guy, Lynn Casper.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Lynn, he ultimate betrayal, moved to the White Sox because he wanted to call a World Series. And he thought his best shot at calling a World Series was to go to the White Sox.
Well, they did win one in 2005, I think.
Yeah, that was That was 21 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Cubs are. I mean, the White Sox.
Are actually 2 games over 500.
They're okay,
right
but
now.
they're not exactly heading in the right direction. But they did beat the Cubs this weekend on a walk-off home run. And his call, Len Casper's call was, "It's back there. It's gone. Edgar Quero wins it. Shut up." That was his home run call. Who's he saying that to?
To Cub fans.
Shut up.
To Cub fans.
I knew what I was doing when I moved to the White Sox. I'm still going to the World Series one day. In a tournament in Germany, French tennis player Corentin Moutet. Well, my weekly story of finding a name I can't pronounce.
Yeah, I don't think you got that one.
I have no idea. But he was so enraged at himself for missing a point that he pulled down his pants.
No way.
He pulled down his shorts. He just pulled down his shorts. Now, I'm not sure to what degree.
We did have,
I don't know if
something on underneath.
I don't know if the Eiffel Tower was exposed or not, but he did. He pulled down his shorts,
Eiffel Tower.
and he was assessed a warning for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Wow.
He lost in straight sets, but the entire penalty was a warning. Don't pull down your shorts anymore, mister. We're going to have a problem with you. Ronda Rousey took just 17 seconds to subdue her opponent coming sort of out of retirement. She's got this girl in an arm bar.
She was 41 years old, for goodness sake.
Now, I do this. I'm in pain right now because I started back doing kickboxing exercise, which is very painful at this gym in Midtown, inside out. It's very, very painful. I don't know how she's doing it at her age. It's killing me trying to do it at my age. 17 seconds, she got $2.2 million. Which seems like a
Rousey?
Now that seems like a fairly light purse for a match for
not for somebody who hadn't 39 years old and hadn't been around for 5 years.
She got $2.2 million for 17 seconds of work.
Wow.
That would come out to $466 million an hour if she were being paid by the hour.
Wow.
She said after the fight that she doesn't plan to continue fighting.
No.
Because she wants to have more babies. And as she said, she's got to get cooking.
I think she's set for life financially,
She said she's got to get cooking because she wants to have more babies.
That is incredible. Well, that's how, to me, MMA, UCF, must be in, or UFC, excuse me, must be in some form of distress because they're relying on Ronda Rousey, 39 years old and hasn't been around for a while, against a 41-year-old woman who hadn't really been competing, and now they're going to bring back Conor McGregor. When's the last time he fought? They're in desperate need.
They've gone away.
Names.
They've gone away from pay-per-view. They signed a deal with a cable outfit.
Well, that's because they made money out of that.
But they're not. The point is, nobody was buying their pay-per-view events. That's why they had to go to that.
They need names.
It is. I think that sport probably is in a lot of trouble. And one final thing, Peterus Penis, 7'1" basketball player from Latvia.
You sure you got that pronounced correctly, too?
Peterus Penis, 7'1", has signed to play for the Oregon State Beavers. I don't think there's any need for any commentary on any of that.
Your mind is sick. That's all I can say.
This stuff takes work.
That is Dennis Freeland on the other side of sports.
Did you call me Dennis Freeland?
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Oh, my gosh. Dennis Philippi.
What's up, Freeland?
Let me just say this to you. If I called, well, he's passed 25 years ago.
I forgot about that.
But just to be thought of in that same thought, because Dennis Freeland was really one of the great souls of all time. Yeah. Dennis Philippi,
there you go.
Not to be confused with Freeland, is brought to you by Memphis Public Links. They got so much going on right now. They've got championships at every one of their golf courses, plus the Pub Links, plus other tournaments. There's a 4-ball tournament that's coming up, I think in the middle of June, that will be at Audubon. That's going to be outstanding. Here's the thing. Yeah, they are so thoughtful. You know, they've redone all the public golf courses. But they also realized, regular golfers, they need to know what it feels like to really compete with no touch, and you got to put it into the hole and learn what the pressure's like, because there's a whole different feeling with that. And so they're providing that. This this regime, Mickey Barker and their crew, and Mickey will be on here in a little bit with golf picks, they just get it, that golf is an amenity and it should be a good one because great amenities make great cities. That's what they're doing with all their golf courses. Go to their website. You can get tee times that way or whatever you want to do and learn about all these championships. MemphisPublicLinks.com. We take a break. When we come back, it's time for Munzie. He was preempted by the terrible Rebels yesterday. So he is coming your way to talk Tiger basketball in just a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis has serious vans for serious work. At 4430 American Way, they are the Mid-South source for cargo, passenger, crew vans, and custom chassis. Need one or a full fleet? New or used? They've got it with fleet solutions and custom upfits. Certified techs keep you moving with fast maintenance, repairs, and a large parts inventory. Mercedes-Benz Van Center is your Sprinter Van headquarters, 901-237-9302 or sprintervans.com. Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis, part of the Tag Truck Center family, driven to keep you on the road.
I've got the one and only Marty McNate on the phone, and look, I hear the drivers are wanted at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
That's right. The Volkswagen driver days are here. Listen to this, Randy. I've got 2026 Jetta S, $249 a month.
Jetta S, $249 a month. That's awesome. What else you got?
How about 2026 Tiguan S, $269 a month.
Tiguan only $269. How about Atlas?
I've got 2026 Atlas SE, $329 a month.
$329 a month for Atlas SE. That is amazing. So Mid-South, if you're looking for a deal on Volkswagen, get out there and see the man.
Come see me, Marty McNate, at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at GossettBWG.com. And remember, your future is what you make it.
Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
Atlas TC 564681, MSRP 41911, Jetta TMO 312217, MSRP 25791, Tiguan TMO 43763, MSRP 32881. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must be financed through Volkswagen Credit PF 895. Excludes tax on low license approved credit. See dealers for complete details. Offer in 6/126 dealers stock only.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Five-Ash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We get a text from our friend Chuck Galino, who deals in numbers. And I did hear Ernie Johnson say this last night, just to dramatize the blown game by Kenny Atkinson and the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. In the last 30 postseasons, if a team had a 22-point lead in the fourth quarter, entering last night, the record for the teams with the lead was 590 That was the one debacle where the Clippers did get the Grizz back in 2012. 590-1. Now it's 590-2. Crazy stuff for sure. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure studio. A reminder, we do have the ultimate pool party going on at Family Leisure, I-40 and Wooden Road. Above ground pools, they start at under $4,000. Now, if you want the latest in state-of-the-art in-ground pools, they're under $50. That's a good price. All in-stock patio furniture, price to move, 5-piece patio furniture sets starting at under $1,000. Outdoor sectionals starting at $1,300. You get a free umbrella and base with select patio furniture sets. And if you mention us, Sports 56, Wolo and Landon Schmidt, whatever you want to say, you get $200 off on any pool or spa purchase. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road. We're going south of the border. And our good friend Jason Munns joins us now, preempted by the Ole Miss Rebels yesterday, kind enough to come on today. And I want to start with, I don't know if you have seen the story or heard of the words of Memphis football coach Charles Huff, but he told the Downtown Rotary yesterday the Tigers would be in a power conference in 2028. Your thoughts when you hear that, my friend?
My thoughts when I hear that are, does anybody really even know anything? Like, especially with the way things are going now. You've got what is it? The Big Ten and the SEC are like, getting close.
The Big Ten has the ACC and the Big 12 with them on a 24-team football playoff. The SEC is set on 16. We'll know more next week on that. But bottom line is the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the ACC are saying it's 24 or we're going to keep it at 12. So we're going to find out who really runs football.
Like, are what we consider power conferences today still going to be all considered power conferences in 2028? I don't know. Is the ACC still going to be a power conference in 2028? Those are my first thoughts when I heard that. Was like, there's a lot of time between now and 2028, and more than likely a lot is going to change. So, we'll just see.
And I'll tell you what I found interesting about the 2028 date is that in any scenario that I've read about the future, and in particular the ACC future, it usually is spelled out as 2030 when the contracts can be dumped without too much penalty. So 2028 would be 2 years sooner than I would have imagined. But, look, he said, Dr. Scott, Dr. Hargrave, they have a plan. I'm assuming some of that formula would be the same one that produced revenue that would have been given to the Big 12 that was turned down. So we'll wait and see. But, I don't think Charles Huff makes that strong a comment unless he's got a pretty good feeling about it.
One would think. But, I certainly, wholeheartedly believe that Memphis, you're talking about the plan and everything. Like, I have no doubt that Memphis is extremely proactive in the planning and getting their ducks in a row, and like they're not waiting for something to happen. They're moving in an effort to try and be ready for they're not gonna wait till the last minute. They're gonna be ready if and when something happens. They're gonna be ready for it. Now, does that mean that it's actually going to work? Does it mean that it's going to, that it's going to happen? We'll have to wait and see. That's the big if. Like, I don't think anybody at Memphis controls that. So, they're doing what they can do right now to control what they can control. But that still leaves a lot up in the air. Like the final determination is not exactly up to Memphis. So you just have to kind of. You gotta wait and see.
We shall, but it's something to think about and to hope for. That is for certain. Let's drift toward basketball, and you had a couple of really interesting items in your mailbag this week. Let's start with Fred Smith. You're the first one to break the story that I know of that Fred Smith, although committed, has not signed his papers, that apparently there's maybe a holdout over money. At least that's what you have reported. What's the status of Fred Smith and the Tigers?
Yeah, we're still waiting. Fred has still not signed. I forget exactly when he committed, but it was a while ago that he had his big ceremony where he popped out from behind the curtain and Pouncer was there, and he had the big sort of the whole student body. It felt like the whole student body at Briarcrest was in the gym for it. It was this big to do, and now here we are, and summer workouts are set to begin in less than 2 weeks at Memphis, and he is not signed. And so, the way it's been sort of described to me is that's exactly what's going on. Is that there is a stalemate? I don't know if that's the right word, but there seems to be something akin to that over money, and this has been going on. Like, I first started hearing about this like 4 weeks ago almost. And it seems like there's just neither side is willing to budge. I think there are other schools that are trying to sort of seize on this opportunity to try and lure Fred Smith Jr. away from Memphis. I had somebody tell me last Friday that there is a 50-50 chance. I was like, is there a chance that Fred Smith Jr. does not come to Memphis? And I was told it was a 50-50 chance.
Wow. 50-50 ain't so good.
No, it isn't. I mean, at the same time, it is a coin flip, but yeah, like you'd much rather it be, higher than that, like 80-20 that he's coming to Memphis.
Here's the troubling thing for me. I don't know the dynamics between Penny, Fred Smith's dad, and Fred Smith, okay? I don't. But when Fred Smith had that press conference and he chose Memphis, they had to have a price in mind. They already knew what their NIL deal was. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So the question would be, what changed in dad and son's minds from that commitment to now?
I mean, we'd have to ask them. I have reached out to both of them, made multiple attempts to get in touch with both Fred Smith Jr. and his dad, and have not have been unsuccessful in those attempts. So we don't know. We don't know what changed.
I also wonder, Fred Smith Sr., the dad, was a part of the Briarcrest. I don't know if it's faculty or basketball program or whatever it was, but I don't believe he is any longer. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to angle a job.
I mean, yeah, that who knows? All I know is what I see on social media and what I'm being told behind the scenes from sources. But as far as bringing up the angling for potentially angling for a job, like. If you just sort of follow his dad's social media, he's posting, he's making a lot of posts indicating his role in his son's development as his trainer and his dad and his trainer and his personal coach and these sorts of things, it does make you wonder. Why he's sort of putting that out there so much. Like, he didn't used to do that on social media, and now he's all of a sudden sort of doing that. So who knows? Who knows what's going on?
Yep.
Again, all I can say is it's not signed, and I've got multiple people telling me it's financial related. And like I said, I've tried to reach out to both of them and see what they would tell me, and neither one has responded. So
stay tuned. That's all we can do with that one. I also thought your Maxime Logue portion of the mailbag was interesting. Now, here's a guy who didn't get a lot of minutes at UCF. couldn't get into North Carolina for academic reasons. Obviously, that has been figured out. He is eligible to come to play for Memphis, we think. But you compare him to Dane Danger. Now, I know he's got a body like Jalen Duren. He's really a specimen. But you see him with that kind of potential to make the leap from what he did at UCF to like Dane Danger's numbers, which, were close to double-digit points and double-digit rebounds.
Yeah, well, so the only reason I mean, that was the way the question was framed, was the person was like, is Maxime Logie, is he more Aaron Bradshaw or is he more Dane Danger? And so that's why I took those as guideposts and used them. And I mean, like, there's no doubt about it. He's both from a play style standpoint, a size-wise standpoint, and a production standpoint, he's far closer to Dane Danger than he is Aaron Bradshaw. That's not to say that he's going to come here and put up the same type of numbers and have the same type of impact that Danger did when he was here a couple of years ago. But, like, I thought it was really, really interesting. So they're both 6'9". They're both listed at 6'9", Dane and Maxime. Dane is bulkier. He was, I think, 255 is what he was listed at when he was here, and Maxime is listed at 232 when he was at FAU this past season. But I thought it was really, really interesting when I compared Dane's numbers in his last year at Illinois, so the year before he came to Memphis, right, to the numbers that Maxime put up at FAU in this past season. Obviously, it's the season before he's coming to Memphis, and they're pretty darn similar in terms of not only points per game, rebounds per game, but also minutes per game. Like, they play basically the same amount of minutes per game. Now, Dane played, like, Illinois went on a run in the NCAA tournament, so he played more games than Maxime did. But minutes per game, they were very similar, almost identical, like within a couple of decimal points.
It was uncanny. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the points per game and rebounds per game were also very similar. The total number of blocks were very similar. So does that mean that Maxime Logie is going to come in here and be an all-conference first-teamer like Dane Danger was? No, but you can look at those things, and you can look at the film, and you can see certain things do kind of match up pretty closely. So,
again, I like the possibilities, but we'll have to wait and see. He's Jason Munns, commercial appeal beat writer for the Tigers. Always fantastic. Next week, maybe we'll talk about some rotations. We'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Wolo.
That is Jason Munns, brought to you by Southern Security. Need cash? You can refinance your auto loan with Southern Security. You won't have a payment for 60 days. That's right. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle, and that is for up to 72 months. To find out how to put more cash in your pocket, call our member service team. That's 452-7900. You talk to a human, or you can apply on the website, southernsecurity.org. Federally insured by NCUA, 7 locations, nonprofit. They can do things banks can't. Southern Securities, your home team credit union. Johnny Lyons, Greg Hines, Mickey Barker, our golf crew comes your way with picks next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. If you were anywhere in the Mid-South lately, you felt it. High winds, hail, and storms rolling through hard. And here's the truth. If your roof took a hit, you may not see it yet. Hail and wind damage shingles can compromise your roof, opening the door for water intrusion. And once it gets in, the damage spreads fast. Ceilings, walls, insulation, even mold. That's why the sooner we inspect, the less damage you risk. Right now, Metro Builders has teams all over Memphis performing free inspections, handling same-day repairs, and providing emergency water mitigation services if needed. We'll show you exactly what we see, document everything, and help you take action before a small problem becomes a big one. Don't wait until you see water inside. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717 or book your inspection online at MetroBuildersMemphis.com. That's Metro Builders Memphis. We don't just build, we build world class.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years. Note to self, send flowers.
Up to 50% off. Save on chairs, paper, balloons, and more.
Balloons?
Yeah, Party City is now at Staples.
Surprise!
But the anniversary sale is only 2 weeks, so...
Quick, celebrate 40 years of savings at Staples with up to 50% off. Shop chairs, paper, break room supplies, and more. 2 weeks only. It's $5.23.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Volkswagen Driver Days is on at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, and it's drivers wanted. If you're looking for sporty, we Gossett 2026 Jetta S, just $249 a month. $249 a month for Jetta S. How about 2025 Tiguan S, $269 a month? Yes, brand new Tiguan S, $269 a month. And Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike wants to get you vacation ready in 2026 Atlas SE, $329 a month. That's only $329 a month for a brand new Atlas SE. If you're ready for a new ride, we got you covered at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. So get to Gossett Volkswagen today at 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Atlas TC 564,681, MSRP 41,911, Jetta TMO 312,217, MSRP 25,791, Tiguan TMO 43,763, MSRP 32,881. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must be financed through Volkswagen Credit PF 895. Excludes tax title license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer in 6126. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We had history made last week. Greg Hines, really Brock Schaefer picking for Greg Hines. In a major championship, we had the PGA at Aronimink last week. For the first time in our picking contest history, we had a guy make zero money. Zero. Greg Hines. Zero money. You're still in first with $10,234,000, but zero money. Greg.
Yeah, I'm just smiling. How about that? I really wanted to give you guys a chance. I told Brock to take it easy on you guys.
You have brought us all back in. I won the week with almost $2 million. Now I've got almost $8 million. I'm 65,000 ahead of Johnny. So I picked third this week. Greg, you're fourth. Mickey had 63,404. He goes first. Johnny had almost $1 million last week, but he's trailing me now by about 65,000. I love the way they set up Aronimink. I heard some people say it was too hard. I thought it was really good. A great player has to play really smart. That's exactly what Aaron Rye did. I'd love your impressions. Johnny, what did you think of the setup for the PGA Championship?
Well, I thought the setup was interesting and fun, and enjoyed watching it. But the wind, the weather really played a big part in that tournament, and the way that the great players handled the wind, and the humpback greens, the greens seemed to win the battle.
You had to play strategic. You had to use the right club, so you didn't go through the very hard fairways. Mickey, what did you think of it?
I thought it was perfect. I thought it was fantastic. The scores, especially on Sunday, were out there to be had. There was a 63 and I guess maybe another 65, and then Aaron Rye shooting what he did on the back nine was fantastic. So, yeah, I loved the setup. I thought it was hard, but fair.
Greg, you think Aaron Rye will now start winning a bunch, or is he going to be like a bunch of guys, like on hard courses in particular? I think Andy North and U.S. Opens. Do you see this guy winning a whole lot?
And I sure hope so. What a refreshing change of pace he is. I mean, just a humble, polite guy. I talked to a member Sunday morning who said to me he played in a pro-am with him here in Memphis 10 years ago and said he's the nicest guy I've ever played in a pro-am with.
Wow.
Like, genuinely asked everything about me, my family life, and he really cared. He really listened. He said, "I hope the kid wins." And what a final round, huh?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, I thought the course setup was fabulous. I love watching Northeast golf. That's kind of the area I grew up in, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and I just think the golf courses are phenomenal. And
I agree. I
thought it was a fun test of golf.
Well, you just had to really be smart and figure out how to play it, and Aaron Rai did that. All right. One last question, then we'll make our picks. It's a tough one. Halfway point of the year, right? Because we got two majors in. Rye's won one. McIlroy's won another. Scheffler had all those second-place finishes. There could be somebody else that comes to mind. Cam Young, I don't know. Who would be, Johnny Lyon, your halfway player of the year?
Halfway player of the year has to go to Aaron Rai.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, he definitely raised the level of his game. Mickey Barker, who would be your halfway player of the year?
I think halfway, I would give it to Cameron Young. I think he's showed enough to be ahead of everybody else halfway through.
And he won the what they consider the fifth major at the Players. Greg Hine, who would be your candidate?
Yeah. I'm leaning on Cameron Young at this point. He just, he stood toe to toe with the big boys this year, and has just played really well. Won the Players, and just been fabulous to watch. So.
Now it's time for the Byron Nelson. It's at this course, TPC Craig Ranch. It's been redone by Lanny Watkins. They've tried to make it harder because last year Scheffler won by 8 strokes. He was 31 under, so they've made it tougher, I think. But it's not a great field. The biggest name to play in it is Scotty Scheffler. Mickey, Johnny, Wolo, and Greg. There's our order. Mickey, you get to go first.
This is a real hard decision. I will take Scotty Scheffler for sure.
Johnny.
Okay. I'm going to go with Brooks Koepka.
Koepka. Okay. I'm gonna go with a guy who's played really well on this course that everybody seems to be thinking is going to win it. I'll go with Si Woo Kim. Greg?
All right, you took any thought of not doing it, but Jordan Spieth. I mean, Dallas loves Texas.
Yeah.
Starting to get better. So come on, Jordan, let's go.
He's got a putt, just like Scheffler. That was his problem at the PGA. It looks almost like there might be a flinch. He decelerates on close putts. We'll see if that's the case again this week. Okay, Mickey, your next pick.
Well, he's a young kid, but it looks like it's going to happen pretty soon. Blades Brown.
Oh man, I thought I would get Blades Brown. Yeah, there's a. If he finishes, I want to say 21st or better, he gets a limited card. Johnny?
Going to have to go with Sungjae Im.
Sungjae Im, okay. I am going to go, I'll go with, and I've always have a problem with his name, Rio Sasatoon, I think is how you pronounce it.
Hisatsuni?
Hisatsuni?
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
I
they do on television anyway.
I better learn it by the time the FedEx comes here. Greg, who do you like?
Yeah, young man spoke out here at Windike a couple of years ago to a group. Wonderful young man, Davis Thompson.
Oh, yeah, and he's listed up high in this power ranking. Okay. Back to you, Mickey, your final pick.
He played good there last year. I'm going to go with Mark Hubbard.
Mark Hubbard. Okay. Johnny?
For the final pick, my final pick, going with Wyndham Clark.
Wyndham Clark. He's had a tough year. I'm going to go with a guy who's really played well at this golf course, Stephen Yeager. Last
All right, I'm gonna take the guy who finished second last year. Nobody's talking about him. How about Eric Van Rooyen?
Eric Van Rooyen. Okay. So here's the picks. Greg is very vulnerable in my estimation. Scotty, Blades Brown, Mark Hubbard for Mickey, Koepka, Sung Jae Im, Wyndham Clark for Johnny, Siwoo Kim, Hiasatsutuni, whatever it is, and Stephen Yeager, Spieth, Davis Thompson, Eric Van Rooyen. What do you think, Greg Hines? The score will be minus 31 last year. Will not be that. What do you think the score is going to be?
We're going to go with minus 23, exactly what Eric Van Rooyen shot last year. So I feel good about that. That's exactly what I'm going to go with, minus 23.
Mickey, what do you think it'll be?
I think it would be right at 20.
Okay. Johnny?
Supposed to be really rainy, so, it's going to be a mutter. And I think about 20 under.
If it's lift, clean, in place, I'll go with 20 under. If not, I'm going to go like 17 because I think Lanny Watkins did try to make it a lot harder. But one last thing. We got a couple of seconds here. Does anybody think Jordan Spieth, and I know you picked him first, Greg, with your last pick, so I'll start with you. You think he's ever going to get the Grand Slam? He's got to get the PGA. He's getting a little older. I don't even know where it is next year, but obviously he's not going to get it this year.
You know what I like about it is the fact that he continues to grind, and I think he kind of reached what I like to say was the late 20s, early 30s when you're really getting your kids and your family going, and he just fell off the world. And a lot of guys never make it back after that, and so to see him fighting back, I'm gonna be a fan of Jordan. I'm gonna say he gets it done.
Mickey, what do you think?
I think so too. I'm a big enough fan of Jordan Spieth that I'm going to say he does. And next year's PGA is a really good shot. He'll be in Frisco right there at home for him.
Oh, really? Okay.
A really good shot at it.
I'm hoping for him. I'm not sure. Johnny, what do you think?
I totally agree with Mickey.
I hope he gets it next year then, because it's slipping away,
ladies
and
wants
gentlemen.
him to.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody likes Jordan Spieth. I would agree with that. I love our picks. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We'll do this again next week.
Thank you. Well,
week.
All right. There's Johnny Lyons, Greg Hines, Mickey Barker. All brought to you by Sheldon, because he loves golf too, although he doesn't play it very well because he never can practice because he's always working for you. He works his plan. He's got a strategic marketing plan that's worked for 40 years. He'll tell you talk to 2 or 3 real estate agents. Just talk to him. He'll explain that strategic marketing program, and then he will get you to the closing table quicker and for more money than anybody else. That's why he's been in the business for so long. Go see the strategy, MemphisRelocate.com, and call 483-0546. Guarantee he picks up by the second ring. 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. You want to get your house sold, you call the guy that gets it done. Sheldon Rosengarten, Marks Bensdorf. That'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Have a great day, everybody. Johnny Radio's next.